Electricity is one of our most valuable resources in the modern day world because it is going to drive us towards the future. We make improvements upon electrical technology every single day, and while I am not an expert, I, Kalia Miata, have put in the time and effort to thoroughly research this topic to provide you with the most reliable information on the history of electric vehicles. If you drive a car or simply go outside, chances are that you've seen an electric vehicle somewhere on the road. This is because electric vehicles are becoming one of the most preferred alternatives to gas-powered cars. I will provide you with a chronological view on the history of electric vehicles with an emphasis on more modern events. Electric vehicles, or EVs, have a history dating back to the late 19th century. This time was referred to as their golden age, as there was many advancements and mass adoption of these vehicles at the time. As the author Alice Martins et al. Of the Journal of Environmental Management, volume 295, written in 2001, stated, advancements in battery technology, such as lead acid and nickel hydride batteries, drove the power of early EVs. However, in the early 1990s, gas-powered cars became more convenient and less expensive for your average consumer. This led to a decline in the popularity of electric vehicles. However, as Carl Gregor Hoyer, the former director of the Western Norway Research Institute and author of the Journal of Utilities Policy, stated that electric cars remained in use during wartime. This is when there was gas shortages because we were supplying the war with fuel. This in turn caused electric vehicles to be the most sought after, most viable alternative for gasoline powered vehicles because they would in turn do the municipal services that the gas powered cars would do beforehand. This includes garbage collection and street cleaning. These services were implemented in the US and parts of Europe during this time. However, the short amount of popularity didn't last long, as the popularity decreased for the large majority of the 20th century. Only starting in the 1990s, the concern about pollution and foreign fuel dependency brought attention back to electric vehicle industry. In the scholarly journal, A Review on Electric Vehicles for Holistic Robust Integration, Volume 14, written by Antonio Alonso Cepeda et al. And published in 2024, they referenced many of the key points in electric vehicle history. In 1976 through 1990s, many small electric vehicle models were released. However, these models were hampered by the low-capacity lead-acid batteries that were put inside them. These batteries did not have a large electrical capacity, which meant they didn't hold a charge for a very long time, which made it inefficient for use. However, a turning point came when General Motors released the GM EV1 in the early 1990s. This car had the nickel metal hydride battery, which were more capacity focused and increased the charging cycle. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, we also saw the birth of the hybrid electric vehicle. The main example for a hybrid electric vehicle would be the Toyota Prius. It is a hybrid because it is half a gas-powered car and half electric-powered car, which makes it a bit more fuel efficient than your normal gas-powered car, but not as good as a full electric. This also spurred the advancement of the lithium-ion battery, which we now see in the Tesla Roadsters and many of our other modern electric vehicles that we have. This also in turn caused researchers to begin exploring vehicle-to-grid technology, which allowed electric vehicles to supply energy back into the grid while driving. This journal also mentions that in 2011, the rate of technological progress accelerated, which caused network stability, charging optimization, and battery efficiency all to increase. Electric vehicles have, in the process, become increasingly considered as the most viable substitute for traditional fuel-based cars. Researchers now study how to reduce the grid harmonics and how to enhance charging infrastructure and integrate EVs into our power grids most effectively. In the late 2010s, studies focused on how EVs can support grid reliance and manage demand-side response to enhance more efficient energy distribution. This would allow us to provide our citizens with more electricity at an even rate because we have a larger power grid system. The journal also points out that studies up to the 2021 through 2022 further evolved to address emerging concerns such as high capacity charging batteries, superharmonic emissions, which are toxic to our environment, and other extensive EV implementations. As science continues to develop, EV maximize their contribution to electrical networks, purchasing sustainable transportation further forward in the future. To sum it up, throughout this speech, I summarized the history of electric vehicles, hitting on the key points that made electric vehicles into what they are today. I mainly focused on the different types of electric vehicle car batteries, such as the lead acid, nickel metal hydride, and lithium ion batteries. These points are good to know because as technology evolves with us, it's important to know how it grows alongside us in certain periods of time. It is also important to recognize that all of the technologies that we create can also have the potential to do harm or good for us as people and both to our environment around us. And while electricity is one of our greatest discoveries, it still needs time to develop to the best renewable energy that we want it to be, especially in electric vehicles.